Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lions In podcast. We're super excited for the return of LigaMX as we have an official date. So before we get to the major pod, right before the season starts, we're just gonna go ahead and talk about everything Club Leon that's been going on with transfers, with rumors. We are preparing this podcast just an all Club Leon focus, trying to kind of give you guys what's going on, what can we expect, what surprises are gonna happen. We know Club Leon's always giving us some type of surprise regarding transfers or rumors, a kind of undecided feel of what's going to happen with some of our key players. So, as you see on the screen, we have our full cast. Jose, Carlos, Louis, and Javier should be joining us right now. So there you go. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Good.
Great.
Happy in a way.
Stoked. Light at the end of the tunnel because we actually have a start date.
Exactly. So and when
it makes a world of difference.
It does. That way we can start preparing. So as you can see, we have a special guest with me, Tom. How are you?
Good. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Hey, Tom. Glad to have you.
Nice having you here. Finally.
Thanks for joining us.
No, it's a pleasure. Pleasure to be here.
Okay. So are you guys ready to talk about everything Club Leon?
We are.
Let's go.
Okay. So let's just talk about it from the beginning. Obviously the season got canceled. In replacement, we had the E-Liga, which was kind of rusty at the start with, kind of just gaining attraction and, these commentators actually, broadcasting the games and all the technical difficulties and the issues and whatnot. At the end, you know what? Louis, talk to us about what happened during the whole E-Liga from start to finish regarding Nico, Killer, and Club Leon.
Cool. Yeah. Well, first, a couple of quick disclaimers. I know there are folks, I won't name names, but I know there are folks out there who question whether or not we should even bother talking about this, whether it's important, what it means, if it means anything. That's one. And two, when it first started out, I've gone on record saying I don't really particularly enjoy watching other people play video games. That's not really my thing. It never has been my thing. But I gotta say, I got really into this E-Liga, and it got progressively more intense as it went along. It did help that our representative in the E-Liga, the Club Leon representative in the E-Liga, had consistently good performances and consistently painted himself as a title contender. I think, if we'd been one of these teams that had been bad from the beginning and had no shot after the first few jornadas of even making the Liga, I could understand just not paying attention to it all, not caring. But that certainly was not our situation, and I think it's worth talking about because, hey, our team is champion of the first ever LigaMX, possibly the only ever LigaMX. Who knows if they're ever going to do it again? I think once real play resumes, it's going to be pretty hard to have an E-Liga. I think it would be cool if they tried to do it. But this is a LigaMX sanctioned thing. We got a real trophy. We had Enrique Bonilla, who a few days earlier had suggested our team be sold, have to go on TV and present us with a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a bit of a satisfaction in and of itself, and the fact that Nick Keeler, our representative, really took it serious, and you could tell how excited he was to win that trophy for our fans and wearing our colors. I think that is something that shouldn't be discounted. I think that's something important. I think it's nowhere close, anything at all close to winning a real LigaMX champion, but what there was to be won during this pandemic, during this quarantine, this time without live sports, was won by a player representing Club Leon, and I think it was pretty well done in the end. Yeah, right, Kari. At the beginning, there were a lot of technical difficulties. It was not. They had a lot of kinks to work out, but I feel like by the end, it was pretty well done. The fact that they treated it as though it was something serious, the announcers and at least most of the players taking it seriously and having, being able to see the players on the screen playing the game in addition to the game itself. I think they did everything they could to make it to make it as dramatic as possible. And I gotta admit, I got a little carried away just watching it. I got nervous watching the games. I got mad when they would score against us. I got upset when we lost. We're talking about a video game. I never thought that would ever happen. But I guess they did their job. If they can convince me to take watching a video game seriously, then they've done their job, and I got it was intense. I took it seriously. I took it seriously, like it was really happened, like it was a real game, really happening, so intensely to the point that some people on Twitter didn't like what I had to say about it. But you know what? We are champions regardless. Club León, primer campeón de la LigaMX Cuarentena 2020, and I think that is something to be proud of. I'm proud of Nick Killer. Great, proud, happy to see our shield on all the social media, surrounded by accolades and congratulations and virtual trophies, and the real trophy, which I assume we'll eventually get and put in the trophy case at Estadio León. So congratulations to Nick Killer and León for their Liga win. That's all I have to say about that.
I think you summed it up well. It's definitely going to be a trophy to remember, per se. Who would have thought 2020 would have an E-Liga and Leon would win that? Like, I guess no one would imagine 2020 going like this. But there is Louis summing up E-Liga, his excitement, his highs and lows, that whole tourney. But I think it's to say Nico, didn't have any minutes basically with Leon, and now he's to a total idol. And I guess what we're all hoping is that he actually plays, on the field.
Yeah, I mean, there were some funny posts there, like, well, I guess Nick Killer has done everything he needs to do for Club León. We should try to sell him off now or transfer him. There's nothing more he can do. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go that far. One thing doesn't have anything to do with the other. I think, regardless, he has a place in the history of the team, no matter whether he plays any more minutes for the club or not. But I also want to see what he can do for us on the pitch, especially because it's looking like we might be a kind of thin at the number 9. So we might, out of necessity, need to see what he can do for us.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to add another thing about the E-Liga is that it was against America. I think you have to mention that because Americanistas have a saying, which they say, hasta en las canicas queremos ganar. So there you go. We beat you in
well, and of course all the rumors circulating that everything was in place for them to win it. That it was just.
Well, why was the final in El Azteca? Didn't León?
Yeah. I gotta say, I was sure they were gonna come out with some kind of thing saying, "Oh no, in the official stipulations of the LigaMX, that the final must be played at the virtual Estadio Azteca." I was sure they were gonna say something like that.
They are imitating life, like even in Liguilla, when they tried in the semifinals to play there, instead of in León, they played in Querétaro because of well, I don't know. It's just
I think we need to talk to EA Sports and get more Mexican stadiums in the FIFA game. That's what I think.
But being champions in the E-Liga, who knows at the end of this decade how important competitive gaming is going to be. I already see it on ESPN. Maybe in the future they will have more E-Liga championships. Hopefully not, because it would mean maybe another pandemic. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what the future has. All we know is that León es el primer campeón de la E-Liga, and Americanistas are hating it right now. So,
again, I can't really attest to how important this really is, but I know it feels really good. So I'll just stick with that.
Yeah, it felt super good to lift another Copa in El Azteca, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, whether in real life or in a video game, El America es nuestro clientazo. It was nice to beat them, no matter where we play them.
No, I have to disagree with that. It's better to beat them in their home.
Yes, of course.
For people, that's always the best.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, moving along, we want to wish a happy birthday to Jefecito Rodriguez, one of our favorite youngsters. Happy birthday! Hopefully, we get to
birthday.
back in action in the lineup. So, okay, so now let's talk about what we've been basically the meat of the podcast. Las altas, las bajas, y los rumores circulating León. I feel like we've have gone back and forth, just commenting on our chat outside, like what's happening, what's is this true, is this not true? So we're gonna go first list las bajas, and some of these are confirmed by Club León, club official, and some of them are MX Draft that are yet to be confirmed by the club. So Fasi to Necaxa, Ramiro to San Luis, which I'm heartbroken because of that. John Cardona out of the team. And then Miguel Herrera back to Pachuca, which is MX. And Ramos was going back to Pachuca MX Draft confirmed. What do you guys think about these bajas? Do you think any of these surprise? Is it the right move, or what are we thinking?
I think the Miguel Herrera one, which happened a couple of hours ago, I mean, he wasn't like the best defender that we had, but it's better to have some defender. I think that is our weak spot in Club León. So that kind of giving them Miguel Herrera for Blanco. Is it the goalie? I don't know.
The goalkeeper.
He's gonna have. I don't know. I don't think it was. I think Pachuca wins in that transaction, just like San Luis giving. But I get it. I think it's also maybe the Ramiro going to San Luis is to kind of get rid of some foreign players. But after that, I don't even know what's going on with Ramos. La novela con Campbell. It's like one day it's yes, he's definitely gonna stay, and then the next day is no. They're asking for too much money.
No, not even day. From hour to hour, it changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is a unique time for player movement in general in sports worldwide. I mean, I understand all these people just simply returning from their loans without a negotiation, and like people maintaining the status quo, and like not a lot of negotiation happening. I think in general, like, we're not going to see a lot of big moves, and especially not international moves. We tend to think of our players just as pieces of a puzzle, but these are dudes who have to. This is a bad time for people to be uprooting their lives and making big changes, and that's what players going to new teams is. So I think that's why kind of with Campbell, I'm like, maybe no news is good news. At first, it was like, oh no, this for sure means he's leaving. But now the more time that passes, it's like, I mean, maybe, he knows what's best for him, or what he wants is to stay here. That's going to be best and easiest. I mean, the easiest and best situation for most players is going to be to stay with the teams they've already been playing for, I think. So maybe that means they are going to work something out for him. It's just going to take a little bit of time. I don't know. I'm sure you all have your opinions about what the no news on Campbell means, but that's. I mean, I try to stay optimistic with that, and I know that players staying with the clubs under these kind of circumstances is more likely than not. That's probably why Rubens hasn't been dealt to America yet. Maybe he won't be, even though it's not, ideal for him to play in León, clearly. I mean, he's made that clear that he doesn't want to be here, but it's probably easiest for the team just to keep him and not make some kind of complex negotiation for him. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think the first thing that La Directiva has to really do is make sure if Campbell's going to stay or leave. I think after that, everything else will be defined, whether Sambueza stays or leaves. I think they're kind of waiting on that. You're right about Sambueza. I think it's more than obvious he doesn't want to stay in León. So I think they're also looking for an option in that sense. Hopefully it's not that trade with Renato Ibarra. I think he's a great player, but I don't want no negativity being thrown at Club León. I think it's just distraction.
In times of Me Too movement, he's the absolute worst player to sign. He's just a whole ball of negative energy that you don't want around.
And it will be a distraction, which is the same reason why Sambueza, if he doesn't want to stay, it's going to be another distraction. So I'm all for players that want to stay in León. Campbell, I really hope he does stay, but if he doesn't, I think there's going to be a lot of changes in the club. I really think Campbell is like the one player they're trying to figure out, and then make sure they're going to they're going to see what they're going to do with Sambuesa, and who's going to also come in. I think they're also talking about some Colombian player that might be bought. But then again, what about Ramos? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Yeah, it's a interesting time right now. It's just
yeah. The thing about Campbell, I think, is that if they weren't going to make the option valid, if they weren't going to buy his card, they would have announced it by now. And the fact that they've stretched out, the timeline so long makes me feel optimistic, like Louis said. So I feel like he's going to stay, but there's going to be some negotiation where you're going to have to, I guess, lowball the Italian team, right? Because I hear they want 2 million euros for him.
Yeah,
a little bit more than 2.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if we're willing to dish out that much money for Campbell,
which is
especially at his age.
Remember Caicedo? He cost double.
He cost 6.
Oh my god!
But Campbell's situation with Frosinone is kind of confusing. Like, they own his card, do they not? But they're saying they can't afford to pay him, but they already own him. No, I mean, I can't. It's kind of confusing, like the way that whole thing has been portrayed.
I think it's because I'm not sure, but I think when he got to the Italian team, they were probably still. I don't know if Tom can confirm this, but like if they were probably still on Serie A. Right now they're in Serie B, so obviously
I think so. Yeah.
Their economic situation is totally different from what it was when they
absolutely. No, I mean you also add in the fact that like no club right now can, or certainly no club wants to, but no club can take on not just the extra cost of a transfer, but the extra cost of wages that haven't been factored into the wage bill, right? The fact that they loaned him out means I assume they haven't been paying his wages all year. So for them to come back in this current situation where I'm sure they've got financial problems, his wages, as you say, he was signed in Serie A. He's a player who's played at some pretty big teams in his career. His wages might be one of the highest in the team. So that potential of him coming back into the team might be a nightmare for them. And in that regard, Leon might have a great opportunity. Because as you say, if they wait to well, actually on this date, which I don't know if when the date is, because again, things are very confusing with the international transfer window now. But if it waits till that date, they might go, we've just got to let go for something right now because we can't be paying his next month's wages. Then again, obviously, there may be potential offers from other places as well, depending on where football is coming back and if there are, I think, localized situations of certain teams that happen to be in a good economic situation.
Yeah. But if sorry, Jose, just one quick question
go ahead.
for Tom. If no further action is taken, he's still a Frosinone player, whether or not they are Serie A or Serie B. They're responsible for him and his wages. If no further action is taken, he has to return to them, and he is their player, and they have to pay him. No, am I wrong about that?
Yeah, he was on loan at Leon for the season. I don't know if that length of the season has changed because what is the international transfer window for FIFA has obviously been ripped up and will be done in a very different way, and we're not quite sure how that will happen exactly now. So that is up in the air. But yes, I'm sure there will be a contract where Leon would have had him on a loan for a year, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And there'd be a date for loan ends on this date, and after that, the responsibility of paying his wages would go back to his parent club, which say may not be something that they can do or want to do.
So it's kind of like a stalemate right now. Like each side's trying to get the best deal out of the other.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, in their perspective, they're also thinking, the difference between them getting 1 million or 2 million or 3 million could be massive in this current situation, because that could be, hang on a minute, we can pay our whole squad for, I don't know what their wages are like, but we could pay our whole squad or our backroom staff for a certain amount of extra months.
Gotcha.
So in regards to the date, I actually did hear there's the period when the option to buy of Campbell, I believe it's on June the 20th, so 2 days from now. So if we don't hear anything in 2 days, then Leon doesn't have the first dips to buy him.
Okay.
And what was I gonna say? So what I think though, I think it is gonna happen. I think they're just kind of like dragging it out. I think it's just like the media just trying to make it like, I don't know, like interesting, because you know how obviously I think that's what's gonna happen. Like I think they're gonna buy him, but they just trying to drag this out. But I don't know, because it just like Luis is saying, like it feels like every hour something changes in regards to Campbell's situation. So, and I think it's just them trying to like build it up, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's staying. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that happens sometimes is agents plant stories in the media.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a possibility that some of these stories might be, we never know. It's the truth. We never know until it happens.
The majority of the tweets that we see, like, oh, like it's confirmed that he's gonna be bought in the next couple of, like those, you know what I mean? But you're right. I think it's mainly like it's just negotiations. They're trying to get the best deal. Each side is trying to get the best deal for themselves. But I do think I think the best option Leon has is to buy him. I really do, instead of an extension of a loan or just buy him. I think, and it's going to be better for Leon in the long run. And I think the what's the name of the Italian club again? Frosinone. I think, especially in this era of this economic crisis, I think it's in the best interest for also the Italian team to just sell instead of just paying his wages. But you're right.
Well, I mean, as Tom was saying, they're a Serie B club now. I mean, it could be, it would cripple them to pay that kind of money.
Yeah.
So they definitely don't.
Yeah. They don't,
like, I mean, we don't really have any.
Attention is not what they're looking for.
We obviously have something to lose on the field in a sporting sense. Like, we are a much better team with Campbell than without him. Yeah. But the worst that happens to us is we let him go and we don't have to pay his wages. I mean, that's maybe. I feel like we're in a better position than Frosinone is. But then again, I'm not the sporting director of either club, so there's other things to consider. But then there's rumors about Campbell being like, oh no, now like MLS clubs are interested in making him a designated player and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that'll still be true in a couple of years. Some MLS club will overpay for him, like back when the economy's back to normal and clubs have money to spend. I'm sure an MLS club will be willing to overspend for him in 2 years. So we should buy him now, and then if we want to sell him to an MLS club in 2 years, it's not. We'll probably still turn a profit on him. I agree with you, Javier. I think it's in our best interest to buy him, but then again, that's probably what Frosinone is thinking too, and that's why they don't want to make it easy on us.
Yeah, they're trying to get as many thousands of dollars more, probably it's like 2 million and 3, no, 2 million and 1. I don't even know, something like that is probably what's going on or something. And it's just kind of like they're just trying to make the best deal for their side. But you're right, Louis. I think it's in the best interest of Leon in the long run to buy Campbell.
Short and long run.
Yeah.
Because we're obviously a much better team right now. If we have him,
exactly. It's like if you don't have Campbell, I'll be like, I'll think we have a good team to maybe win. Yeah. But with Campbell, it's like a feeling like, oh, we got this. We have a scary media right now. With Campbell, it's exactly what I feel we need still.
Step up from what we have.
Yeah. I mean, before you win a championship, why you got to go now? Come on, Campbell.
Okay, so before we go to Las Altas, I know we got off to the question mark, so I just want to go into our defense because I think it's always been a hot topic throughout our podcast because, we've had different type of scenarios with certain players. Not that Ramiro's gone and Miguel Herrera. Tom, do you think we're going to be able to do well with what we have?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either of them would have played much, to be honest. The only concern I have is for you would be depth, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand that Mosquera's coming back. I mean, we've spoken. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I think he would start ahead of both of those two. And then obviously with Dacio and Barrero as well. You've got three guys there. Is a fourth necessary? Perhaps that would be my main concern. I mean, obviously it's a difficult situation with just slightly on and off topic, but to bring it up, like Ramiro was probably sold because of the front player changes the rules, and this is where I just get really infuriated because like trying to plan long term as a football club and they change these rules every year is an absolute nightmare. And obviously these players, John Cardona as well, were signed with the the knowledge that you could have certain number of foreign players in the team, and then hey, a year later the rule changes and you have to sell them. So that's a bit of a nightmare. The hope for you guys, I guess, would be that you go out and maybe you've got one other foreign player spot. You go out if it's possible, bring in another top centre back to play alongside Dacio. Because I think if you have another, it's difficult to find someone who's as good as Dacio, but if you found someone to play alongside him of the similar quality, that would elevate your team enormously. Although I do believe Barrero, he needs a lot of work on the training ground, and I'm not sure Ambris is the one to do that as much as I love Ambris and respect him so much for what he's done. He's revolutionized the football of this country in many ways, but with the ball, not without.
Yeah, well, I keep saying Barrero's pretty young for a center back still. If he were playing along somebody like Rafa Marquez, he would probably learn a lot of good habits. But he's just too sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got the raw technical things that you need to be a good centre back. He's quick, he's strong, he's good 1v1. He's good on the ball. He's talented on the ball. He can. He doesn't just play sideways all the time. He moves the ball into midfield really well. But his positioning sometimes is just like awful. I mean, seriously. It's a big problem.
He's a William Yarbrough, but as a center back,
I just pray, and if I could have, I'd have been spending the whole of this lockdown showing him videos. Like, this is your homework. You have to spend a couple of hours every day watching videos of yourself.
Well, you got my vote for Club Leon video coordinator, Tom. You got my vote.
I do wonder if teams be doing that because great opportunity.
But in terms of the depth thing, I think probably for this upcoming tournament, it's probably okay not to be that to have 4 center backs. For the tournament after, as we know, we're going to be in the Conca Champions again. So playing 2 tournaments at once, I think it'll be more important then. So maybe in the next transfer window, maybe they can get another one. I think for this upcoming tournament, it's probably okay to have just the 3. But yeah, I mean that's just what I would say about that.
See, I would agree with you.
Real quick, I have a question for you, bro, because I know you know all of this. So I know it's Sosa is out, Ismael, also Ramiro, and what's the one who no, extranjero.
Ramos?
Cardona. Those are the 3 that are confirmed, right? That are out of the team. So
yes,
counting Ruben Sambueza, how many foreign players need to be out of the team? Is it 4 or 3? Count if Sambueza stays and Campbell stays and.
So there was 14, right? Before, like with Sambueza included. Before. So right now, how many have gone out?
3. So we still need 1 more foreign player to.
So it needs to be 11.
Oh, so just with those 3, Club Leon is set in that sense, right? With foreign players. Okay.
Yeah, you had 13, right?
Excuse me?
So if you only need to get rid of 2. I mean, you must have had 13 because that was the rule before.
Oh no, it's because before Sambueza came back, there was 13. But with Sambueza, there was 14.
Oh, Sambueza, sorry. I just assume he's Mexican, right?
Right?
He's been here forever.
Yeah, technically he is Mexican.
He is. It's just the rule.
The rule now is not anymore. You gotta be born in Mexico now.
Maybe Tata will give him a call up. Let him play for Argentina. I mean, argument he deserves one. That's it.
Okay, so let's go with Altas. We have Avion Ramirez, and then Vilchis as well, who has proclaimed loving Leon. That's his team, you know. So I guess that's
Is
kind
he
of
official?
huh?
Is he official?
He's official. I
Yes,
saw
Vilchis.
the Club Leon tweeted an official video. It wasn't like the traditional like Leon, like they
Oh,
make a
okay.
whole stunt, but there was like a short video. He was like thanking and all this stuff. And then the MX draft that was confirmed a couple hours ago was the coach Alfonso Blanco. So what are we thinking about these three?
I think what they did was they dismantled Mineros before they sold them, and then they just spread out the players among Pachuca and Leon, right? The los rescatables, I guess. And I guess that's what we end up with because we don't have money to.
It's
to
like
buy.
Cholos and Querétaro, right? I mean, I love this new concept. You don't need to buy players; you just buy a team, steal their players, sell the team.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and so we're in a pandemic and we're struggling to buy Campbell. So what do? We just dismantle one of our own teams from second division and sell that one off and keep the good players, I guess, and just shoot them into Pachuca or Leon. And that's what we're doing.
But that Blanco versus that trade with Blanco and Miguel Herrera, I think Pachuca got the best because of the same reason. I think Miguel Herrera is all right as a. You're right. He probably would have started maybe even behind Nacho Gonzalez. But still, it's better to have, just because I'm very scared when it comes to our defenders and, any kind of lesiones, any kind of injuries. I think I'm happy Mosquera's coming back, but I still think our defense is our weak point. So I don't know, man. Blanco, I don't think he's going to have any playing time because we have Cota there,
And there's no Copa MX.
There's no Copa MX.
That's when you give your backup keeper minutes, and we're not going to be in that for at least another year and a half.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, we have champions, right, coming up
next
in the winter of 2021.
If it happens.
If it happens, yeah.
If it happens, yeah.
But by then we're gonna have Yarbrough back.
Really?
Yeah, he's only on loan for 6 months, right?
Oh, I don't know how long the loan was.
I thought he was going to be there for
Really?
a
I
while.
thought it was longer than 6 months.
Yeah.
No, I think it was just 6.
And Ramiro is a year or 6?
Year.
A year. Is it a year?
Okay.
Dude, it's so
I was
sad.
heartbroken.
They didn't even they didn't even announce that he left the club,
No.
Nothing.
And I'm just like, how are you gonna do Ramiro like that? I don't know. I've always been a fan of Ramiro, and
I like Ramiro.
I remember I
I
messaged
have
with
too.
Drew.
I mean, I think he at least deserves to play over Barreto.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
He's always been professional.
It doesn't. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make sense that Miguel Herrera and Ramiro leave unless they're probably thinking of bringing somebody in that spot as a defender. I don't think it's because of Mosquera coming back from that injury. I don't know.
Or giving Nacho Gonzalez real minutes. I mean, I've gone on record. I'm okay with that. He's played and he hasn't looked bad.
Yeah.
I know people look at me crazy when I say that, but it's completely true.
No.
If he managed to come back after, I mean, what is it, like 2 years effectively out?
Injured in and
He's
out. Yeah.
36. 35?
35?
35. And he has to play in a team that has possession and plays in a high line and then gets balls played in behind them. I mean, wow, if he does that, that would be...
Well, why not? Why not? Nacho Gonzalez is a lucky charm. If he plays and he scores...
I don't know. He started against... I was just going to say he started against Juarez. I don't remember. I think he started against Puma. Like the last games that we played before the suspension, I mean, he was playing and he was not. I mean, when we look bad, it wasn't because of him.
Yeah.
That.
Do you guys remember who he started over? Was it Barreto?
Over Herrera, I think.
Because we had what was our back line?
I'm pretty sure Jairo was lesionado, so I think the CEO was left back.
Okay.
Well, Jairo played against Juarez, which was our second last match, and then against Pumas, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember, man.
But
No,
that's something to go back.
Yeah, it was Castillo played left back. So Nacho played centre back with Barreiro. Castillo was left back. Yada was on the wing that game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was annoying.
Game before was the Juarez game. It was the same thing in the Juarez game.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that. You play like that.
Yeah.
I like Yaito.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Yaito as a left back. I think that's an interesting role for Yaito. And if he can't play Desillo, he's perfect there.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I've really liked when Desillo. I've also said many a time that I've liked when Desillo has played as a left back and not as a center back. But Yaito was kind of a revelation at the left wing back position. I mean, they kind of just invented that position for him, but he's done well with it. So I can't really complain when he's playing there too. Definitely a more offensive minded player at that position, but it's nice to have options, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that new inventive fullback / striker role, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved.
Well, you've seen us play, Tom. I mean, we don't really, especially in the attacking third, we don't. The positions are really not clearly defined. It's all very fluid in numbers.
Everybody's switching on the wings.
I mean, that's pretty Mexican. Like,
yeah.
Because it is. It's just the way the coaching's done. They haven't had the kind of, we haven't had the Guardiola, even though he played there, we haven't had the Guardiola revolution of mass, and then I should really say Guardiola and Klopp revolution of the two different styles of playing, but that are kind of focused around a similar idea. And well, Mourinho as well, from a defensive standpoint, is just like super strict organization, just training what they call positional play, training game situations, and like, you have to stay, when we have the ball in this situation, you have to be in this position. And, you know, strict stopping trainings and moving players a couple of meters to the left or the right or forward or backwards to perfect everything. And from what I've seen, that is not how coaching happens in Mexico. So we tend to see those more, well, I'd say fluid, individualistic attacks. What obviously has separated Leon is even though they do attack in a very fluid way, position wise, the decision making is a lot more, I would say, strict. There's a lot more of a plan in terms of the decisions they make in the attack.
And that's probably the difference. That's why we've been so successful, because Ambris is good at making that happen. But I feel like they target players. So this is why, you know, guys like Avion Ramirez and Vilchis, more of these guys, just fast, that can play anywhere and just fit in anywhere, and they're not necessarily better on the left or the right. I mean, yes, they have a better foot, but just these guys who can slide in anywhere and be part of this fluid attack. I'll say that
I'm getting guys who are great on the ball as much as possible. And where I'd say probably he has done something position specific, and I don't think this is just, obviously I don't know, but with Navarro playing what I describe as a right back / attacking midfielder.
Well, that guy's played every position known to man except goalkeeper, like over the course of his career, pretty much. Like he doesn't, he's deployed as a right back, but he's maybe best as a defensive, like a holding midfielder. But then he'll get forward, and he's great as a winger, and he doesn't even know where he's best. He's
brilliant on the ball.
Yeah.
Fantastic passer.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you have him moving alongside Montes in the midfield, it's a great combination.
Yeah, I'm more excited about Vilchis than I am about Avion. I don't really know anything about Avion, but I remember watching Vilchis at Morelia, and he was a pretty good player there. And he's still pretty young. I mean, he's
from Leon, Vilchis or Avion?
Avion is from Leon.
Avion is from Leon. Where's Vilchis from?
Well, he came through with Chivas as a youngster.
But he was born in the city of Leon.
Okay.
Avion was. Which, like, people take that really seriously here. They like to see the kids who were born here.
I mean, that's everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and because the last guy from Leon who was good was what's his name? Aldo Rocha, yeah, and we just unceremoniously got rid of him, and now he's a star.
I don't know why.
You know.
Yeah,
So,
you're right about that, Louis. Many people here in the city, we want to see more paisanos, leoneses, whatever, playing for Club Leon. I think,
and it doesn't happen very often. Like Rocha was the last one, and all of a sudden happened with him. So people have high hopes for Avion, but I think Vilchis is the better player.
And Vilchis is
I'm
from
more
where?
excited about him. I don't know. I don't know exactly where he's from.
Is he the one they call Pipila?
Yeah, he's the one.
So maybe he's from.
That's why I asked. He was from
Which he's not from Guanajuato, but I think they call him Pipila because he kind of looks like the statue.
Oh.
I don't know. Seriously, I think that's why. You know how these nicknames, these cruel nicknames are.
Legitimately scaled a building with a rock on his back. I think.
No, I think it's because his face kind of looks like a rock. Yeah, it kind of looks like a rock. Yeah.
You got to take Javier.
I mean, I really like him. I remember watching him Morelia. He's from Michoacan.
He's from Michoacan. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But
the nickname
he's one of those
fits,
Mexicans. Looking at his career now, he went on loan about 10 times, and then he was one of those who just didn't play enough as a young player, right? He was always in the Morelia squad, but would barely get a start. He started to play a bit more when Roberto Hernandez was coach, and I always really liked him. I thought he was a very, very direct player. He doesn't have a massive world of skill sets, but in terms of, I'm not sure his pace is what it used to be because I think he's 30 now, but he was very tricky, very good 1v1. Always, if you fed him the ball out wide, he would take on a defender and deliver across. So can that be adapted into Leon's system where they don't just chuck it across from anywhere? We'll see.
Yeah. Well, he seems like the kind of guy he seems like the kind of guy who might have a good shot at a career resurgence in Leon, like a couple other guys seem to, like Angel Mena did. I don't know. I don't expect that kind of production, but maybe he can be useful for us.
He started to play. He was at Correcaminos in the Ascenso, and he started to play more as a attacking midfielder behind the striker as well. Mm-hmm. Which perhaps with his age, maybe coming in from the wing, and not having that extra yard of pace maybe that he used to. I'm not sure. But he did quite well. I mean, I can't say how much Ascenso, but his numbers were pretty decent. He was created quite a lot of chances for Correcaminos.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so we've already hinted on the big question mark, the hot topic, Joel Campbell. We already targeted that. And then I guess Ismael Sosa, what's going to happen with Ismael Sosa? We talked about Rubens. And then the whole Mauro Boselli out of nowhere coming. I mean, to me, what's happening with Sosa? Ismael Sosa, is he staying? Is he leaving?
I think he's going to go back to.
It depends. Yeah.
Well, he's technically. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I think how Luis pointed out earlier, it depends. Always depends on Campbell. Whatever happens with Campbell, we'll know what happens with Sosa, and we'll know what happens with Sambuesa.
Yeah, but how would Sosa not feel a little slighted by that? Like, well, we might give you a shot, but we want this other guy more, so we're gonna try to get him. And if we can't get him, then maybe we'll give you a call, even though we know you really want to play here and you love playing here and you. I mean, sudas la camiseta and everything and all that good stuff. I think he's going to feel a little slighted. I mean, he's a consummate pro, so he probably wouldn't take it personally. I'm sure he understands. But he kind of seemed a little salty with the fact that he wasn't taken more into consideration after declaring that he wanted to stay. So I don't know. I don't necessarily see a good future for Leon and Ismael Sosa, but I could be wrong.
Don't say that. I just love him. I think I underestimated him whenever we, first, got him. I think we were in Torreon eating tacos when the whole announcement came.
That was the big.
Yeah. And I was just like, Ismael Sosa, man, I don't know how I feel about him. And he jumped off with Leon and just gave us an outstanding, consistent performance, and we have come to love him. I really want him to stay. I think for me, it's best interest if he stays. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, Sosa's got fantastic off the ball movement. He's so good at making runs in behind defenses. And when you've got a team like Leon that create loads of chances, that are full of guys, like Montes, like Navarro, like Mena, possibly Campbell, new guys coming in as well, Jairo Moreno, like so many players who can create chances and players who want the ball to feed. You've got to have someone making those runs in behind, someone to get on the end of the chances in the box. Obviously, Macias did that so well for you for a season, for a year. And I think Sosa came in and didn't do the exact same job, but to an extent filled the void. So, yeah, I think to me, it would make sense to keep him. But if not, then it's important to make sure you're not just full of players who want the ball to feed. There's someone who's making those runs in behind.
Yeah, I really do think if Campbell stays, I think Sosa is going to go back to Pachuca. If they don't buy Campbell, I do think Sosa will stay, and that way, because if let's say if for instance Campbell ends up not staying with Leon, they're pretty much gonna have no more all the foreign players that need to leave. They're gonna be at 11, correct? And then that leaves us another problem with Ramos. I think he's probably he should stay, but if he does leave, automatically you're already thinking that some other foreign player striker is gonna come, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. I know we're gonna go there.
I'm curious what you think of Leo Ramos, Tom, because we've talked about him so much here. I'd love to know your opinion. I just think he's a tronco. I think he's too slow for the style that we like to play. Like he's a pure target striker, and that doesn't really work. You need your number 9 to do more than what he's capable of. I don't know, but I remember watching him with Lobos WAP, and he was so good. Why was he so good there, but he couldn't fit in here? I don't know. I'm curious what you think about him.
100% agree. I mean, first of all, at Lobos WAP, that first season when he's banged in so many goals, he was averaging a goal every 2.5 shots, which is just ridiculous. Like no one can do that for more than a short LigaMX season. So I think he got a bit overrated for that. I'm not saying he's not a good goal scorer, but I totally agree. He's a big striker. He's a target man striker. If you are playing more direct, putting more crosses in from deep positions, fantastic. He could be a great guy. But I agree, he's not the type of striker that Leon needs, and that's why I'd say Ismael Sosa is more of the type of striker that Leon needs, because he has the ability to make runs in behind defenses when you've got, someone like Montes is more looking for the through ball over the top rather than the cross to the big striker, right?
And he's super slow.
Yeah, right? Well, that's the thing. He can't get in behind the defense because he doesn't have the pace to do that.
And he's had a lot of opportunities. I think he's had opportunities, and I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but I think you had your opportunities, and I think Leon, the youngster, he's done a way better job. So that's why I don't even mind if they get rid of Ramos. I really do want them to give more chances to these youngsters, because I look at the whole JJ Macias situation and how just one season with Leon, all of a sudden he's worth so much money. And I think easily Leon could do that with any of their young players, any of like Leon. They have a good team. They have Chapo, they have Meneses, they have Mena. Those are great players to make you look good up there as a striker. So I really hope they take that approach. But if they decide to keep Ramos, or if they decide to not, I do think we do need a better striker, a foreign striker in that position. That's why there was that rumor of the Colombian. I don't want to call him just the Colombian. Does that
I retweeted him. I'll find out the name. But are you forgetting about Nico Sosa?
It was the other
Diego Valdez, the Colombian. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and you got Nico Sosa.
Then you got Nico Sosa. We don't know. We have no idea what he can do, really. He's played 5 minutes. He's played 5 real minutes for the team. We're not talking about virtual minutes here.
No, or as Carlos likes to say, garbage minutes. After it gets under 5 minutes, it's like there's no use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
saw him play in a sub-20 match, and he went off with cramp. So,
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
to be fair, I think that was his first actual time on the field in Mexico, and he had to play at what was it, 11 o'clock in Torreon. I mean, that was the day I met you. It was pretty hot.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
So yeah, especially I mean, Uruguay gets pretty hot in the summer, but it's not like Torreon, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, one of the other things too is Sambuesa, right? Because I think he'll be great with Leon, but I really do think he's bringing a lot of negativity. Because I mean, I already don't like the fact that it's kind of obvious he doesn't want to stay in Leon. So if he doesn't stay in Leon, which is all right, and they can trade him for some other player, I don't know. I'd rather Leon do that, in which they get rid of Sambuesa, bring somebody else for him or something. Keep Campbell, keep Ismael Sosa, and trade Ramos.
Just keep everybody. Is it you want? Is it you
Todo
dream?
quieres, Javier. Todo quieres.
We're good. We should do that.
I see a bright side to keeping Sambuesa and over Sosa. If we can have Campbell and Sambuesa, but not Sosa.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Like,
That's I'm gonna be like Javier. I'm being stingy.
We were talking about this, Carlos. Like, think of that midfield with Sambuesa and Sosa and Mena and all those guys. Like Sambuesa, he's a pain. I've always hated him, except for that one season he played with Leon. Just as a dude, he's a guy that you love to hate.
But he's a guy that you love to hate, especially in America. Whenever he played in America,
he's so good. Exactly. I don't know how he's still doing it, but he's so good, and he makes your team do so much better by being there on the pitch. You know,
he had a monster season for Pachuca last season.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if we had him.
Insane for his age, like to play like that at his age. Like, I feel like he ages like one, just like Chapo.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. Like, why is he still so good, Tom?
No, he's incredible. I mean, he is the favorite from the standout performances of like players I've seen live. If you're going to ask people, what's the best performance you've ever seen live? You know, someone say, "Oh, I saw Messi once. I saw Ronaldo once." No, for me, it's Ruben Sambuesa, and it was when I saw him play for Toluca in a game against Necaxa, which was a fantastic game. And he has this. He's just so clever, right? He's so clever. It's like he can see the whole pitch all the time, and everyone else can only see around him, because he has this ability to be always on the ball but never marked.
Yeah,
it's absolutely incredible. He gets the ball, and I can back this up with data. Whatever team he's in, whether it's America, Leon, Toluca, Pachuca, he's always getting the ball. Normally, not most amount of times of anyone in the team. Well, but then you'll look and you're watching the ball in the match and you're going, "Oh, where's Sambuesa?" And you realise he's on the wing on the opposite side of the pitch. And 5 seconds later, the play switched out there. He receives the ball. He's one-on-one. He creates an opportunity. The guy's an absolute genius.
Yeah.
I've got a head versus heart thing with the Leon situation. My heart says I just want to see him and Montes play together because it could be one of the most incredible things ever.
Well,
my head says the two would not be able to play together because they are both too similar.
They didn't get much of a chance to. Sambuesa spent most of his time here injured.
Yeah.
But when he did play, the few times he did play, he made an enormous difference every single time. It was only 3 or 4 times. It was really, but he made an enormous difference.
They played in cuartos de final, right?
His goal, his golazo, the third goal against Xolos in Tijuana. And then how he set up the goal for Macias in the leg 1 of the semifinal against America. That's the one I remember most.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for him to stay. Like, honestly, I would love him because you're right. Seeing Chapo and Sambuesa, and then I don't know. The thing is, I don't know if he wants to stay, and I don't know if a lot of it's just me from reading all this Twitter nonsense. Sometimes you don't even know what you're reading, but I'm just getting his vibe that he doesn't want to stay. And if he doesn't want to stay, I don't mind que sea como un intercambio, you know, for somebody else. But I hope he does stay. And I like I said, I think all of this has to do with whether or not Campbell stays or not. And the Sosa thing, and it's just I just want this to be over already. You know, like I already want to see what our team is going to be and what are the options and whatnot. But you're right. Another player I wasn't really thinking about was Nico Sosa, because I haven't seen anything of him, and he could be an interesting also. I mean, with Sosa and Leon up there, Ramos, if he stays, hopefully he can be the Ramos from Lobos WAP. But I don't know. I don't know with this mini draft. I don't know if maybe Ramos might go too, because there was rumors of him going to Pachuca.
Yeah, I don't see Ramos staying, honestly.
Yeah. So if
And
he's not,
he shouldn't, as Tom so eloquently illustrated. He does not fit, you know.
Yeah.
And
But
to
then
that
they're
end,
okay.
I don't think Boselli fits anymore either. You know, I don't think there's that much truth to the rumors of him coming back anyway. But I don't think he's the striker we need at this point. And I love him. How can I not love him? But I don't think he's right for us anymore.
He'll come back one day, though. I do think he wants to retire and be the Maximo.
I mean, that one day better be pretty soon, because he doesn't have, he's not aging in his wine quite like Sambuesa is, you know.
All right, buddy.
Or Montes, yeah.
So we have one comment question from Antonio Garcia, two-part, so bear with me. First, I think we've mentioned it. What do you guys think about the Sambuesa and Renato Ibarra trade rumor? And the second comment is Sambuesa is trying to go to the new team, Mazatlan. He keeps liking their pictures on Instagram.
Go to Mazatlan, then. That's what I'm saying. You know, I'm playing.
No thanks. No, we do not want Renato Ibarra. We don't want that negative energy around our team. No, thank you. He's a good player, but no, thank you. Not worth it. So I hope that does not happen.
So just out of interest, you know, just as a scenario, if there was a trade for someone else, thinking fairly realistically, with America, who would you be interested in?
Ooh.
Oh. If they want to give us Bruno Valdez, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Defense.
Yeah, some defender for sure. Yeah, like especially now after Miguel Herrera and Ramiro are leaving Leon, I think the best thing Leon could do is use Sambuesa as an act of, like, to trade, maybe with the defender Bruno Valdez. I think that's a good. Yeah, why aren't you working for a directiva, Louis? That's perfect.
Yes, please.
He's probably pretty expensive. The price is probably not matched. I doubt the price is matched.
Sambuesa loves Piojo, so we can be like, you guys love each other anyway, so just make it happen.
They were talking about Roger Martinez too, but that idea doesn't really excite me.
I definitely want it to be for a Mexican player, though, because of the foreign player situation going on. I think if they can trade him for a really good, like Bruno Valdez, that's a perfect.
No, Bruno Valdez is not Mexican.
Oh,
no, he's Paraguayo.
No, I'm thinking about somebody else. I'm sorry, but I think if they can trade him for a good, like, defender that's Mexican, but
or if they want to give us Sebastián Córdoba, I'll take him too. But,
I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
I don't think Córdoba would be possible, of course, but that does bring up an interesting idea, which some teams have started to do, particularly in Europe, is when a big team comes in with interest for one of their players, they say, all right, we'll take a trade and you give us a couple of your youngsters who we maybe think are prospects, but I'm playing for you right now. And then they go and develop with you, and suddenly a few years later they come back calling, or another team comes back calling. You can sell them on for a big profit. So that's an interesting idea, especially when a big team comes, because we know America will have talent in there. Whereas the Vatican's big in Mexico City, of course, but a lot of them difficult to get in the team, of course.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've been wanting them to do, like when they buy players, to buy young players too, because they haven't really have many players come out from the cantera. So why not invest in young players in other teams? But but from what
we're forgetting about Godinez. We can forget about Godinez, who has coronavirus.
Oh yeah, he does. I saw that on Twitter.
Of course it's him. Of course it's him.
So what Yeah, but was he ever here?
No.
Yeah, that's why it's so easy to forget about him.
Yeah.
It's almost as though he was never here. Yeah.
Exactly what I'm saying too. I forgot about him. Yeah.
Unfortunately, he did not turn into the next Macias like some of us hoped he would.
No, totally not.
But no, Armando Leon has a better chance of that. I feel like. Yeah.
Already
maybe not Macias, but a useful striker.
Last name's already.
I'm still wondering why Ambris chose to start him in the champions in LAFC.
Godinez?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no.
I mean, if you don't want to score any goals, like he's a really good option to put in a
I don't know.
Going for
it. Like we don't know any of the tactical side, so like why don't we ask him why he thinks he started Godinez over Ramos?
Yeah.
And LAFC, because that doesn't make any sense.
I thought we agree that anything post coronavirus doesn't never happen. So that LAFC game, nothing made sense. Godinez.
And then the best part is that he waits until what, like
freaking 80-something minute or something,
yes,
right? Like,
to make any changes.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
Getting mad.
Okay, yeah, let's just not talk about it. We're not meant to bring each other down with the CONCACAF. We talked about it. It's kind of like the with Tigre situation and with Morelia, like we just don't touch on it again unless we are like doing like a year review or something like that, So let's just skip that. We talked about some youngsters coming through the season. I mean, we kind of basically last podcast talked about like a mini, recap of the clausura. But to you guys, focusing on Club Leon, on the clausura, what was the bad, what was the pretty, and what was the ugly of Leon in general?
Ooh. The good, the bad,
that might be bringing up a certain game that supposed to be mentioned once again right now.
Well, I mean, it's fine because it was canceled. You know, I mean, the season was canceled, so let's just dig in like that season from start to
finish. Just LigaMX.
Just LigaMX.
Okay, right.
Just LigaMX.
No more mentioning it.
Yes, just LigaMX.
Oh man.
The bad, the ugly, and the pretty.
The bad, the ugly, and the pretty. We're just Club Leon.
Yes, and LigaMX.
And just LigaMX.
LAFC versus Leon bad.
We're not. Okay.
Yeah, we can't
for sure is the bad.
Well, we can't talk about the ugly, Cuddy. You just forbade us from discussing it.
just talk about the good. Come on, why not? I mean, there's not that much bad to talk about in LigaMX for you guys, right? I mean, you ended the table in second place. The underlying numbers look good. I mean, it was another solid season that looked like being another, good chance in the year. Really.
Staying at the top of the table and looking like we were going to stay there a while. The way based on our last couple results in Liga, that was definitely the good for me.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess.
And of course, finishing in second. Yeah,
I would say
finishing in. Yeah.
Well, the bad would be losing against Chivas right after. That would be the bad for me.
Yeah, that's bad. That's real bad. I listened to Chivas. I remember I was more mad about that because I was like, I mean, LAFC, okay, whatever, but lose again. Yeah, bad Chivas for sure. Good, probably like the last 3 games, Leon, because you saw Leon really turning. You saw like especially when Campbell was coming in. That was a good. You saw that how this was going to be something that Leon was probably going to keep doing, and maybe towards the end still be at the top. There's a lot of positivity going towards that direction. Bad again, Chivas
and the Santos game.
Well, I was going to say, what about that goal that was clearly onside that they didn't go to VAR for?
That was the bad.
Yeah.
That would be the ugly.
That would be the ugly. Yeah, that would be the ugly because they.
That was the BS.
That's not our fault though.
Good, bad, and greedy though.
Ugly that we're allowed to talk about. Yeah.
I guess the good would be beating Morelia.
Yeah, That's already
That
feels.
was-
Poor guy. I don't exist in
No,
that.
no. The good,
Like,
the
beating
good,
a dead
the
horse.
good is staying at the top of the table and getting that second place finish and getting that Champions League
Champions
berth.
League.
Because really,
La revelación de Armando
that
León.
was
La
that was
revelación
all
de
that.
Armando
Yes, but
León.
in the grand scheme of things, I mean that those Champions League's berths were the only thing ultimately in play. There was no Liga and there was no title. There was no champion. So I mean, we can kind of hang our hats on that. Like through 10 matches, in spite of everything, we were one of the top 2 teams in the league and on an upward trend, I would say.
I mean, all you could have done in 2020
Yeah.
was qualify for the CONCACAF Champions League
And win the E-Liga. Yeah, we did both. We did both. Yeah.
Not the
That's
fiera.
all. That is literally
That's all you
all
could have
we could have
done.
done in 2020, and that's what we did.
The good, the bad, and the pretty.
No, I mean the other thing I'd say is that game at Juarez was quite incredible.
Yeah.
I thought, because going in after the couple of defeats,
That was a good Juarez team.
and for me, Leon, have always been like, although you've consistently been at the top of the table, I've always felt watching you that you're on this kind of awkward balance between if the defense goes by like a little bit more, the team would just collapse. And I thought, oh, it might just have happened. The defense might just have, like, they might have just have lost too much control of games. And Juarez have been on such great form at home, really difficult place to go. And to produce, I mean, especially in that second half, I mean, the first half was controlling, the second half was just destructive. And they on back at the very best.
That's what Campbell, what he could do. You know, I think he totally, because that Juarez game, I was kind of like, all right, if we can find a way to beat this team, then it's like I have hope, because that was a really good Juarez team, especially at home, like you were saying. So
well, I remember all of you guys saying we'd take a draw. We'd be happy with a draw.
Because
at that point, because we come off 2 just awful losses. We hadn't had 2 consecutive losses that had stung that much in
against those 2 teams.
A long time.
Yeah.
So we would have been happy with the result. You know, and I was happy with the result when we got the PK and tied the game, and then and then it was just crush, kill, and destroy.
Yeah.
Like you're saying.
Armando León. There was a lot of things in that game.
And then you came out of that. I came out of that stadium with a completely different outlook on the future of the team. It's amazing what one result can do. Just how crushing they were, how dominant. And then it carried over into the next one, the closed door match against Pumas, which they also dominated pretty decisively.
Yeah, and Louis, that was when you were at the airport, right, with the players.
Yeah. When there's only one flight between León and Juarez per day, so we were on the same flight back, not the same flight up because long story. There were some airport issues, but on the same flight back. And then everyone.
Could you see that then? Could you see like a sense of relief in the players, or
a sense of happiness and camaraderie because I'm around the team a fair bit, and I see, like, I can get a good kind of a decent sense of which players are friends and which players kind of, you know, just are colleagues and that's it, and they don't hang out together. But in that Juarez airport, and then at the baggage claim in León when we landed, just the sense of joy and yes, relief, but also like camaraderie between guys that I wouldn't have normally expected it from.
I mean, he even he's smiling with the picture with Gil Buron.
Yeah,
that's how hyped up that game was.
Well, you know, with Gil Buron and Nacho Ambriz, and I was like, well, man, I'm with a legend of Club León and also Nacho Ambriz, you know. Yeah,
I mean, Gil Buron was one of the big surprises last season.
He was a pleasant surprise when he played, for sure.
He was one of the big. It was, I think, the biggest surprise of the season was either him or Santi.
Yeah.
Take your pick. Both of them were.
Also, Gil Buron seems like a really nice guy who's happy to be here and wants to contribute. So I always wish him well.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that was definitely a turning point. After that Juarez match, just the vibe around the team was extremely positive, and then it carried over to Pumas, and that's partly why I say we're on an upward trend. And then, of course, The pandemic hit. The pandemic hit, and our season was cut short, and we'll never know where it might have gone. But there were definitely some positives to take from it. That is for sure.
It was our year.
It was definitely our year.
It was our year.
And saying like, oh, it was our, no, it was not your year. You were gonna play Leon
It
eventually.
could still be our year. It could still be our year.
Yeah.
You're right. It could. Hopefully by
Yeah,
then.
not sound excited about that. Like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, you never know with this pandemic. It's something.
When we re-sign Campbell, I'll call it our year.
Yeah, it's definitely not Cruz Azul's year. What's going on with their like finances and stuff? That you can't. There's no way you can call it your year after that.
You're right. Billy Alvarez. Yeah, that's the thing about Cruz Azul fans. They were like, oh, well, if everything's gonna stay the way it is, why don't you just give us the title? Like, no, you're not gonna get any.
I couldn't believe that there were actually no real Cruz Azul fan would want to be crown champion that way. I don't think, would they? I don't know. That's a really, really, really lame way to be crown champion.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is, but those guys, they've been champion once in like 50 years or something. And they still want to be called themselves grandes.
I guess, after a 23-year drought, you get desperate, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But
imagine if they would have won the Liga. They would have been like, oh.
Yeah, but they were awful.
La novena.
Yeah, I guess we'll have a future pod reevaluating Los Grandes. I think, Javier has mentioned it in a couple pods before.
Worth mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, it could still be our year. I guess we have to see, what the transfers look like. Definitely, are we keeping some players? Are we keeping Ramos? Are we loaning him out? Which I think I saw a tweet today that he probably will be loaned out. Like, I don't see him staying. Leo Ramos, yeah. They're looking for a team to put him in. And then I guess we'll have to follow up with George Gamble, which, he was in Costa Rica and then he came back, and then that kind of triggered us like, oh, so he's staying. But, I guess, a lot depends on, the players. And I mean, I'm just hoping we still will be having the same momentum, even though we're probably going to be fanless, but still having the same momentum, because I think Club Leon has made a huge impact. And whether some people want to take it or not, las televisoras, but they are a great team to watch. They're a very attractive team to watch, and they deserve it. But yeah, anything else?
That fanless thing, I'm okay with it right now. All I want is to see my team play, even if it's on a screen.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we can try to sneak you in, Louis.
After a while, I'm gonna get real crazy, and I'm gonna really want to
probably find a way to sneak in.
Well, he could probably get the hotel and just use some binoculars, just watch it from the hotel.
For the home games, yeah. But my things are road games,
Let's go. Plaza Stadium, go all the way to the top, and then we'll
All right, Javier, it's a date. First home game, we're gonna do that. We're gonna go up to the top floor of the hotel and watch from. If I can't find a way to sneak us in, I couldn't for Pumas. I really, really tried, but I couldn't.
You did?
Well, by tried, I mean I asked some people who I thought might have a way to do it, but
they were really strict for those behind closed doors games. I mean, I was at the last, what was the penultimate game, was Santos and Caxo. We were just in with the people I was working with, we were just in a palco, and then some people came to us and they're like, "You got to go inside to watch the game, because they don't want us. If they see some faces on TV, they want us to be inside of the palco rather than sitting outside." So yeah, they were pretty strict on that stuff.
No, I mean, I'm sure it was.
We'll find a way.
But I, I won't give up hope.
No, you dress up as a janitor or something, and
or maybe in a palco, but on the side opposite the cameras. No,
not
where the cameras are not pointing, I should say.
Well, you know what? We all need to buy a palco together, and then we just
definitely
you can get a job as a cameraman.
Yeah.
When the new stadium is built, that's our plan. We're gonna get a palco.
I don't know. I guess maybe we could get press certified, Javier. Maybe there's a way we could get press certified, and then we could get in, and maybe I don't know. But
that new stadium they're gonna build for sure. We need to get a palco.
yeah, well, Palco for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
And we have to
In
go
the
to
new
a game
stadium.
in Mazatlan.
It wouldn't make much sense to buy a Palco in the stadium now. It's just because we're not gonna. Well, we're gonna play there for longer than we wanted to, but eventually we won't play there anymore.
2023, 2024 is that the
Probably
goal?
2024 now.
2024 is, and that's probably optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's
wow.
Everything on pause, unfortunately.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to wait for that. But yeah,
Well,
we'll find a way.
that-
Louis,
I'm sure y'all will find a way.
I'll find a way, damn it.
Sneak in. Okay, well, that is all that we have today. Anybody else want to say anything before we go?
Anything?
Not anything, Javier. Anything that is related to the pod.
Thank you, Antonio Garcia, for watching.
Yes.
Thank you. And for those people that sometimes get a little sentimental when I talk about America or Cruz Azul, I'm just playing, but it's true. We beat you in Liga America. You gotta take that out.
It's all in good fun, but seriously, son clientazos. Yeah.
I mean, who knows in 100 years when football doesn't exist anymore because it's all be replaced by virtual football.
Virtual.
Who knows?
That's true. Like imagine
then having won the first ever E-Liga will really mean something.
And it'd be like watching clips of a team playing back in like the 1950s.
Yeah.
Nick, you get like a virtual god or something in that future or whatever. Like as the first ever champion of the E-Liga. And the bicampeón and tricampeón for sure. I'm pretty sure he's gonna win every E-Liga tournament. I also want to say Forza Napoli because they beat Juventus, and anytime they beat Juventus, that's something I wanna celebrate because they're the rich northern team, and Napoli is humble south. Anyway, that's all I want to say about it. Even though Sana couldn't play, and it's unfortunate that Gattuso doesn't. I don't know. Hopefully, he finds a better team, but either way, that's like the only relevant news story of soccer today. Napoli campeón. I think Bayern campeón yesterday.
Yeah, but that's not news every year, right?
But Napoli winning.
That's normal.
Same old different year. There you go.
Napoli winning is new. That's their first title since 2014.
Oh, there you go. We will be ending the show with Napoli's.
And Bocelli coming back. It's true, guys. It's true, Antonio Garcia.
No, but yeah, thank you to Antonio Garcia for his questions, comments, for watching us. Really appreciate it. It's just, podcast during this LigaMX list era that we do these podcasts. But we'll definitely have more content, especially getting back to the return date. We'll have a lot of new stuff that we're working on. So that'll be something fun to keep an eye on. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in, which was Antonio Garcia. He said, Carlos, I met you at Bank of California. Chill guy.
Chill guy. It
Can't remember.
But we so chill.
Yeah.
Chill guy. But yeah.
Saludos, Antonio.
Saludos, Antonio. But thank you for joining us, Tom, today.
Thanks for having me. Good fun.
Thanks, Tom.
Anytime.
Anytime. And yeah, we're taking off. So hope you guys have a good night, and we'll see you in another episode of the Lions Podcast.
All right.